Very good morning to everyone. I am Prabhakar Palni from Goa University and one of the organizers of this conference. We are extremely delighted to see all of you assemble here for the conference from every part of the country. And it's my great pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries and participants for the first conference on Hot QCD Matter 2022 in Goa, jointly organized by School of Physical and Applied Sciences, Goa University, and School of Physical Sciences, IIT Goa, for 3 days starting from today. For the next 3 days, we can look forward to hearing invited talks and plenary sessions spanning some interesting topics relating quark-gluon plasma, jet quenching, heavy flavor and quackonia production, electromagnetic and electroweak probes, global and collective dynamics, and many more. This conference is bringing together theoretical and experimental physicists from heavy ion physics and high energy physics community, which will enhance our understanding and will create a fruitful discussion among us and provide networking opportunities. Now I would like to invite Professor Kaustubh Priyorkar to welcome our dignitaries and all the delegates. Professor Priyorkar is the Dean of School of Physical and Applied Sciences at Goa University and is also one of the organizers of this conference. His area of specialization includes condensed matter physics and use X-ray absorption spectroscopy as the main tool of investigation. He is an eminent and very well-known scientist in experimental condensed matter physics and also the recipient of prestigious Materials Research Society of India Award. So with that brief introduction, I will hand over podium to Professor Priyorkar to welcome our distinguished dignitaries and delegates. So please.
Thank you, Prabhakar. Good morning. Professor B.K. Mishra, IIT Goa Director, Professor Harilal Menon, Vice Chancellor of Goa University, Professor Vidyadhar Subudhi, Director R&D of IIT Goa, the lead organizers, Dr. Santosh Das, Dr. Juma Sanigrahi, and my colleague Prabhakar, distinguished speakers, participants, colleagues, and students. First of all, let me extend a warm welcome to all of you all to Goa and Goa University. I hope your journey was safe and your stay wherever you all are staying is comfortable. It's nice to see everyone in 3 dimensions after 2 years. We were used to seeing 2 alphabets on computer screen and we had almost got used to it. So this might be a new change for all of us. So I hope this is a welcome change and its change is here to stay. Everyone has heard of Goa and I don't think I need to introduce Goa. Perhaps the higher education institutions in Goa need some introduction because they are less heard of. Although university has been there for about 35, 36 years, the other 3 higher education institutes, namely, of course, IIT Goa, which is the youngest, the NIT Goa and the BITS Goa, we 4 of us are here. And some of the other programs are conducted by different schools and departments on this campus as well as the other campuses. But they do need an introduction because sometimes we do get asked a question, Goa mein bhi science hota hai? Because, Goa is well known for the other aspects other than science. So anyway, as I said, sometime back when BITS Goa was established, we physics colleagues from the university and the BITS colleagues, we decided to have some meeting called Goa Physics Research Meet, essentially to expose our research scholars and meet each other at least once a year on a formal occasion and have some interaction. So of course, we were readily joined by IIT as soon as they came on the horizon. And this was going on. And as usual, once any activity gets established, you feel like going one step further. So we thought both Goa University and IIT Goa thought, essentially the physics colleagues, thought that we should have at least one national conference every year. And we started it. The first one was on March 12th and 13th of 2020. I'm mentioning these dates because they were exactly 10 days before the lockdown. So we had it. It was in condensed matter physics. We had it here. And at that time, Santosh was asking us about holding a high energy conference in Goa and things like that. And of course, for 2 years, nothing happened. And in between, Prabhakar joined us. So it's a good thing that initiative was reignited, and all of you all have come here for this conference after 2 years. I hope you all enjoy your stay in Goa. Of course, Goa is for enjoyment. But when I say, I mean the academic part of the stay. And you all have very enlightening deliberations over the next 3 days. Welcome you all once again, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for welcoming everyone. Okay. Moving forward, I would like to request Dr. Joma Sanigari from IIT Goa, one of the organizers of this conference, to kindly felicitate our dignitaries. Thank you, Juma. Yeah. Light symbolizes goodness, knowledge, and purity. Lighting diyas denotes dispelling ignorance and darkness and going into the light of knowledge. It marks the beginning of auspicious time and event. So now I would request our distinguished dignitaries to kindly light the lamp. Okay. Moving ahead, I would like to extend a hearty welcome to our distinguished guest, Professor B.K. Mishra. Professor B.K. Mishra is the Director of Indian Institute of Technology, Goa since 2017. He graduated with the bachelor's degree in metallurgical engineering from INIT Rourkela in 1981, and then obtained his PhD degree from University of Utah, USA in 1990, and continues his postdoctoral research over there. In year 1993, he returned to India and joined IIT Kanpur to start his teaching career. In 2006, he moved to CSIR on deputation from IIT Kanpur as Director of CSIR IMMT at Bhubaneswar. In 2017, he was appointed as the founding director of IIT Goa. Professor Mishra is recognized for his contribution in the field of extractive metallurgy and powder technology. He has published over 240 international journal publications. He has 5 US patents and 10 Indian patents to his credit. This year, he was ranked by Stanford University as the number 1 scientist of India and number 11 in the world in his research area. He is the recipient of the National Geoscience Award and is a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering. For his contribution to industrial research and development, he received Vasvik Award. He was a member of the expert committee formed by the Honorable Supreme Court for environmental impact assessment study in the state of Goa. He has received prestigious CSIR Technology Award from Honorable President of India. He was also bestowed with the Distinguished Alumnus Award from NIT Rourkela. So now I would like to ask Professor B.K. Mishra to address our delegates. Sir, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all delegates. Vice Chancellor of Goa University, Professor Menon, and other colleagues on the dais, and fellow delegates, students, and my colleagues from IIT Goa. Now, it's a very good occasion that so many physicists have gathered here to understand QCD. That's quite tough for me. I hardly understand what it is all about. But what Santosh explained it to me, that much I could gather and understand, and I can expand perhaps a little bit on that. So when he said that these are the basic particles, and they are truly not so basic. Down below, there are other elementary particles are there, and we want to, look at, let's say, something at the time of Big Bang or something, what happened around that time, and then apply QCD to all that. I said, very, very strange. When I was a student, I returned back to Kanpur, and that time my father had visited US and returned back. He gave me a book called God Particle, and that was in 19 something. Lederman got a Nobel Prize, and that book he had written, experimentalist, but his writing style about physics, what impressed me. And if you haven't read that book, if you care about God particles, not so much about Higgs boson, and he alluded to those, but what you call neutrino and stuff like that, and wrote that. Now, I was thinking that we can look at a scale, and down below all these Higgs boson and all that there, and the space is endless, and that's the size we are talking about. So in Purusha Sukta, this Sahasra Sirsa Purusha Sahasra Sahasrakya Sahasrapat Sabhumi Sarvatva Sprutva Tatishtat Dasangulam was something really alluding to the scale. Purusha being defined as the Lord, and could be of that size, where the entire universe is contained within, yet sits on 10 fingers. Can you imagine that? So perhaps that these geologists, geophysicists, astrophysics people, and they talk about that size, and yet our QCD group, those who have so much of interest, they look at the size down below at that unimaginable. When I started in Bhubaneswar, I had a small plasma group. I thought, let's work on plasma. I always try to look at my problems in a different way, that I should find one application of that. So I studied hydrogen first. Hydrogen is the basic thing that starts periodic table. It starts with that. So I thought, let's study hydrogen. And in that plasma, whatever little we know, we are not physicists, our application somewhere else, but we delve into plasma, and that led to a very good publication in IEEE journal. Coming to IIT Goa, I thought let's graduate from hydrogen to two element system like carbon dioxide. That also has a beautiful application. You don't like carbon dioxide for some other reason, but I like carbon dioxide to do something else. So we have set up a small high voltage laboratory to create carbon dioxide plasma and to understand that. I understand this QCD thing is also dealing with at some stage perhaps plasma. Maybe the temperature is different. We are doing low temperature plasma, although we dealt with high temperature plasma with hydrogen. Eventually we'll go there and look at carbon dioxide plasma. So the reason I'm mentioning what I did or what I want to do is that to find a purpose in all these things. What do I end up doing? And my brother is a mathematician. He says, if you don't understand, who cares? I do this is a theoretical, pure mathematician. So that's how things are. But eventually, if it can be of some use and all your theories ultimately leading to better understanding of our cosmos, our universe and stuff like that, that's truly worth it. And as it is mentioned, all these good findings, good things that you can discover and try to understand only in Goa. And Goa is a lovely place, and University of Goa surrounded by ocean. Where would you find a place like that? This is a nice place. Take a break. And Goa is known for certain other things. I will not get into that. Hope you will have a good time here in Goa and get to do hot and cold QCD, whatever way possible. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful thoughts. Yeah. Okay. Moving ahead, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Professor Vidyadhar Subudhi, who is the Dean R&D of IIT Goa. Professor Vidyadhar Subudhi received the Bachelor of Electrical Engineering from NIT Rourkela, MTech in Control and Instrumentation from IIT Delhi, and he received PhD degree in Control System Engineering from University of Sheffield, UK. Currently, he serves as a professor of School of Electrical Science and also a Dean R&D at IIT Goa. He also served as a visiting professor at University of Saskatchewan, Canada, and in Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok in 2011 and 2013 respectively. Professor Subudhi is a recipient of the prestigious Samanta Chandrasekhar Award of Odisha Vigyan Academy from Government of Odisha. He is a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering and fellow of IIT UK. He serves as a technical committee member of the IEEE Intelligent Control Group, steering committee member of the Asian Control Association, associate editor, IEEE Transaction on Sustainable Energy, and IEEE Technology Conference editorial board. He has been appointed as a distinguished speaker by ACM. He has also supervised over 40 PhD students. His research interests include system and controls, control of photovoltaic and microgrid system, and underwater vehicles. With this brief introduction, I would like to request Professor Vidyadhar Subudhi to say a few words to our delegates. Okay, please.
Good morning. It is a distinct pleasure to be here with all of you. Respected Vice Chancellor of this prestigious university, Professor Menon, my director, Professor B.K. Misra, and my colleague, Professor Santosh and Dr. Jhuma Shanigrahi, and Professor Prabhakar, so who is also a joint organizer for this prestigious conference. It is really heartening to see after a long time the COVID has made us to stay in homes and all online business. Now we are opening up and hopefully our research will have a step rise in the years to come. And I must congratulate my colleagues from Goa University to take such an interesting endeavor to organize this wonderful conference. And needless to say that these conferences are essential to congregate, to discuss, to further the research, to exchange their views. And I hope the delegates will be immensely benefited during the 3 days participation. A lot of deliberation would happen, and I wish a great success for this conference. And on the top of that, don't miss the opportunity to go around different places in Goa. It is definitely is a plus point arranging a conference in Goa. And because I am not a physicist nor I have any knowledge on this subject matter, so I would not, tell anything about it. But only thing from my core of heart, I wish a grand success for this wonderful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Moving ahead, I would like to extend the hearty welcome to our distinguished guest, Professor Harilal Menon, who is currently Vice Chancellor of Goa University. Professor Menon, Senior Professor and Dean, School of Earth, Ocean and Atmospheric Sciences, has taken over as the 9th Vice Chancellor of Goa University in 2021. Professor Menon joined Goa University in 1988 and has 33 years of teaching and research experience at Goa University. Professor Menon was awarded CSIR Fellowship in 1984 and received MSc and PhD degree from Cochin University of Science and Technology in the domain of physical oceanography. He then pursued his postdoctoral work under DAD Fellowship at Max Planck Institute of Meteorology and Institute of Oceanography, Germany. His areas of specialization are optical remote sensing of coastal and estuarine waters and aerosol science. Professor Menon had initially developed a site-specific algorithm and an algorithm to retrieve chlorophyll A, which was named as Goa University Case 2 Water Algorithm, for which he has received wide acclaim from international scientific community, and this became a baseline data for any country to develop future optical sensor for chlorophyll A generation. This is the most significant contribution in the field of optical remote sensing, as no one had ever developed such an algorithm. This study earned Professor Menon a position as a member of the peer group of National Committee of ISRO to identify band characteristics for the forthcoming ocean color sensors. Professor Menon was successful in receiving R&D projects from various funding agencies like ISRO, MOES, and NRB. He had played a pivotal role in conceptualizing and implementing national projects such as ARFI, Noble, and SATCORE. So with this, I would like to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to enlighten our audience. Sir, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Palani. Professor B.K. Misra, Director IIT. Professor Vidyadhar, Dean, School of Physics. Professor Kaustubh Priyolkar, Dean, School of Physical and Applied Sciences, all my colleagues who are assembled on for this 3 days seminar, students. In fact, when I received the invitation for hot QCD, I wondered myself that what does it mean? What is meant by this hot QCD? So I went through internet and then Wikipedia. Then I realized that it is parallel to our QED, which deals with the interaction of light with matter. And here it's a system plasma, and that heavily interact high energized, high temperature and high density, etc. When I went through further literature, I realized that a group of scientists from the West, particularly from United States of America, has been working in this field, and during the last 1 decade also, they could come out with a breakthrough research wherein they said that this is something which high energized, all that kind of a thing. And then it was also realized that this is something which can lead to multiple research in the field of physics. Because QCD is modern physics, that's particle physics theory, which leads to many, the subgroups of physics, research related to physics. But while going through this, my memory had gone back to what I have studied, especially in case of supernova, Big Bang explosion, where I was wondering that, what I have learned was that, star is a glowing ball of gas, and then, due to nuclear fusion, the element becomes heavier and it goes on. After a million of years, it explodes. And that becomes the nucleus of the forthcoming planet and the stars. But still, it was not clear to me that how it is. Probably, this QCD would unravel some of the truth hidden in that, and then, it might even maybe a supporting or, the information which would further give us an idea about how exactly the planets and stars have been formed. Of course, this is not my knowledge domain, therefore I won't be able to, speak anything authentically on this. Rather, I would take this opportunity to say that it's heartening to see that my colleague, Mr. Palani, had taken up this initiative. We have many faculty members appointed in the recent past, youngsters. And I would say all the youngsters that, please imbibe this kind of a character, like in the sense that, see here, because he has the expertise in this field, and again, taking all those, having expertise in this field together and having a seminar, and then 3 days of fruitful discussion would certainly lead to, future course of action, in the sense that you would be able to draw a trajectory wherein you would say that this is the way in which it has to go. And probably, who knows that, Goa University can become a CERN in future, maybe in another decade or two or so. Like, we should be able to, strengthen this further. And I wish all success for, this seminar, for the 3-day seminar. And that's it I would like to say. And let's say that, Goa is not only, because some of my colleagues were saying that Goa is meant for, was famous for these activities. But let us also see that Goa is going to be an education hub of Government of India. We have Goa University, we have IIT, we have NIT, we have BITS. And of course, we have research institutions like NIO, NCPR, ICR. So it's a wealth of knowledge we have. So we have to see that whatever is going to happen, like I would also suggest that, in future, at least when you have this kind of a seminar, please include mathematics and mathematicians also, because mathematics, as far as I concern, that is the basics of science. So unless and until you explain them, this is the application, without mathematics, no science can progress. So therefore, I would say that please include them and see that, the seminar comes out very successfully. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's always a privilege to hear your encouraging words. Thank you again. Finally, I kindly invite Dr. Santosh Kumar Das, who is one of the organizers and important working and guiding force for this conference, to say few words and provide a vote of thanks. Please. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhakar. So a very good morning to everybody. Three of us, Dr. Jhuma and Dr. Prabhakar and me on this organizing committee are organizing a conference for the very first time. So certainly it is a learning curve for all of us, and a starting or a beginning like this is certainly motivating, and here we are today. So first of all, on behalf of this organizing committee, I would like to express my deepest gratitudes to Professor B.K. Mishra, Director, IIT Goa, for his constant support and its valuable suggestions to host, starting from the very beginning, to host the conference at Goa. So thank you, Professor Mishra, for being here and for insightful guidance and suggestions. And I will also like to take this opportunity and would like to thank Professor Menon, the Vice Chancellor of Goa University, for gracing the event, sharing his thought, and extending full support to host the conference at Goa University. Thank you, sir, very much for taking time away from your very busy schedule to be here. I will also like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Subuddhi, Dean R&D, IIT Goa, for his uninterrupted support and guidance he has extended from the beginning to host this conference. Thank you, Professor Subuddhi, for gracing this event despite of your very busy schedule. I will also like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Pirolkar, Dean, School of Physical and Applied Science, Goa University, for sharing his experience thought, which makes many things simpler for us. Thank you, Professor Pirolkar. So I am also taking this opportunity to thanks to Dr. Sudipta Kanungo, Program Coordinator, School of Physical Science, IIT Goa, for providing us with all possible support. I will also like to thank all the distinguished speakers, all the participants for accepting our invitations and to be here to be a part of this conference. So I will also like to express my deepest gratitudes to all the good hearts who worked behind the screen to make this happen. I thank Goa University for providing us such a beautiful venue, along with providing us accommodation to our students as well as administrative support. We also thank IIT Goa for providing us all possible IT support, administrative support, transport support, along with accommodation to some of our guests. I also take this opportunity to thank NIO, National Institute of Oceanography, to providing us accommodation support to most of our participants. I will also like to thank all the media persons here. So last but not least, I am very thankful to IOP Publisher, Balani Infotech, and Sun Instrument for the sponsorship. So thank you very much for all of you for your presence here, and let's make these events a successful one together. Thank you.
Thank you, Santosh, for your wonderful words. So this bring us to the conclusion of this inaugural session. So hope you will have a delightful and stimulating days ahead, and also enjoy stay at Goa and everything around us. Okay, so yeah, thank you.